One more football note. You said they were playing with red zone spacing right now. Now they can go back to normalcy, but in the red zone, he also was their best player by far last season. Last season, when Jayden Daniels targeted Terry McLaurin in the red zone, he was 12 of 14, 9 touchdowns. Like, that's bonkers, silly video game numbers. On top of the football impact, I think we all know this and have talked about this throughout the offseason. He's on the short list, if not the most respected player in the entire locker room. This is the kind of guy that could one day win the NFL's Walter Payton Man of the Year award. That's the kind of respect that Terry McLaurin has around the league. It's not easy to deal with any contract negotiation. It's especially difficult when this is a guy who has been through so much and been sort of the exemplary part of the locker room. Obviously, Jayden Daniels' arrival has totally changed the trajectory of this franchise, but Terry McLaurin was the kind of player that did everything right during the most difficult times for Washington RC. This was a must-do to get done. I'm glad they found some middle.
Yeah, for me, it's about common sense prevailing, about understanding what Terry McLaurin means to this team, not only with this production and what we see on the field, but what he means to this team in the locker room, how he helped a young Jayden Daniels become the offensive rookie of the year. And the one thing you don't want is to have this team set back by not signing one of their best football players, but also one of their best people. And if you're the Washington Commanders, you're trying to figure out how to make back-to-back playoffs since the last time I won the 12-year-old Little League championship as a quarterback of the Terrytown
12-year-old Little League football
championship.
What position?
Quarterback.
I
was the quarterback. Absolutely.
A lot of options.
Let's get to some more top stories with Shefty. Terry McLaurin, not the only person looking for a new deal. Tell us what's going on with Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons also would like a new deal, but he and the Cowboys have not discussed one in months. And once again, Micah Parsons not at practice again today. The Cowboys open their season a week from Thursday night, and it doesn't look like Parsons will be able to play. And if he does, he would be limited at best with the fact that the two sides have not been able to get a deal done, and Parsons hasn't practiced all summer. Meanwhile, the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson at least have some dialogue going. They recognize the time on the calendar it is. We'll see if the two sides can figure out a way to get a deal done. They've been trying to get a deal done for the better part of 2 off seasons and really 4 years. If you really look at it, no deal yet. We'll see if they could find a way. And just into ESPN's NFL Live, the Houston Texans are not going to activate Joe Mixon by Tuesday's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline. He will be moved to the non-football injury active list. Well, basically, he cannot play the first 4 games of the season at least. Now, this has been a very mysterious injury. He essentially was on the non-football injury list, which means it was an ankle injury that wasn't related to something that he did on the football field. He will miss at least the first 4 games, and until somebody says something different, I think there are questions about when and if Joe Mixon will play again this season.
This is absolutely huge news, not only for the Houston Texans as a team, but for third-year quarterback C.J. Stroud. Dan, how big is this news about Joe Mixon?
Absolutely enormous. One of the best backs in football. This is an offense down in Houston that is, to your point, third-year C.J. Stroud, breaking in a new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, and relatively 5 new offensive starters as a group together. So to not have the premier back attached to that is a big deal. Second of all, we've worked with him long enough. If Schefter is saying something about the uncertainty of if post the 4 games, there's that makes me give a lot of hesitation to what Joe Mixon's future is like going to be after those 4 games.
Yeah, and what scares me about this is Joe Mixon was so important to this team, the physicality that he played with, even on a team that wasn't great up front last year. And so now you're thinking about C.J. Stroud, who has all of these weapons on the outside. That play-action game, to me, is going to be a huge part of his success, and I think it takes a big hit without having Joe Mixon on the field. You don't know if it's going to be 4 games or more, but for the hopes of DeMeco Ryans and his team, you definitely hope he's back sooner than later. Let's get to some Week 3 preseason play. We have Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders. I mean, I thought it was the Cleveland Browns versus the Rams.
Team versus team.
Hey, listen, we're going to start out with Dylan Gabriel in the 2-minute. This is going to be a great throw. He's going to go up top, Dan. What do you see from Dylan Gabriel here?
His timing and anticipation really has started to show out on the 3rd downs. The ball comes out before the receivers are looking for it, and that leads to those guys being comfortable with yards after the catch. And the vision that he displays, pretty strong traits.
Dylan Gabriel extremely sharp during his...
You saw in the Carolina game, he had a similar situation where he moves and then throws the touchdown.
The bowl game, that's a 24-yard sack, but the Cleveland Browns do win the game 19-17. Derek Carr questioned the Browns' decision to pull Sanders late in the fourth quarter. He tweeted, "I need to understand why we don't get to see Shedeur Sanders run this 2-minute drill. Wouldn't you want to see your young QB operate in this situation, get him more reps for the future? I didn't see the whole game, so maybe he already showed enough. Help me understand this." The questioning of Stefanski continued during his press conference availability on Sunday.
Can you address this sort of persistent narrative that that you're trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders, especially after yesterday and not putting him in for the 2-minute?
Yeah, obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things, but